Welcome to the executive interview series. Today we have a very special guest joining us who is revolutionizing the energy storage industry. Please join me in welcoming Mark Swinnerton, the founder and CEO of Green Gravity Energy. Thank you for joining us today, Mark.
Thank you, Rhythm. It's a pleasure to be here.
Amazing. Now, Mark, let us start with an overview of Green Gravity Energy and your innovative gravitational energy storage solution. Can you explain how does it repurpose the existing mining infrastructure and why this makes your technology a compelling option for investors looking to support clean technologies?
Absolutely, Rhythm. I'll start quickly with the clean energy revolution. One of the things that is going on out there in all of our electricity grids, from the United States through to Australia and everywhere in between, is that as the amount of renewable energy increases in our electricity grid, we are creating more instability because the renewables themselves are variable in production. And so to manage that instability, we increasingly need to add energy storage assets into the grid to be able to capture the renewable energy and dispatch it when it's needed. Green Gravity has developed a technology to create that energy storage by repurposing mine sites. So our gravitational energy storage system is able to reuse legacy mine shafts by lifting weights through the mine shaft to consume energy and by lowering the weights down again to regenerate the energy when it's needed at a later time. By doing this, we're able to take an existing legacy mine and help it participate in accelerating the renewable energy transition.
That's brilliant. That's very fascinating, Mark. And one of the key advantages, I believe, of your energy storage technology is its low cost and long life. So let us delve deeper into how exactly Green Gravity achieves this and its cost effectiveness when you compare to other storage options.
Yes. Well, the first point I'd make is the technology is quite simple. And as it's usually the case, simple can often be low cost and very effective. So our system has reasonably few parts and we're able to reuse infrastructure, most notably electrical connection infrastructure and the mine shafts themselves. And in being able to reuse infrastructure and being able to have a simple design system means that our capital cost is low compared to other alternative options to deploy the technology. So that's the first point. The second point that's very important about the effectiveness, the economic effectiveness of this technology is its asset life. Because we're using proven mechanical components, ropes, motors, mine winders, these things have long proven life. And as a result, our technology is able to stand the test of time and has an asset life of 30 to 50 years. Meaning that during its full asset life, it's able to perform its function without degradation, and that gives us a very strong net present value. So compared to many of the alternative technologies, which do degrade with time, we're able to create a very strong net present value because of that extremely long life effect of our technology.
Brilliant, Mark. Now the energy storage market is rapidly growing. We can see that around us. So can you shed some light on the potential market size and demand for energy storage, both in Australia and globally? And the second part of my question is, how does Green Gravity position itself in this market and what advantages do you see over other solutions?
Yeah, well, firstly, the energy storage market is really right at the very beginning. And it's at the beginning because it's been driven by the penetration of renewable energy, which again is only in single digit penetration globally. So for us to get to net zero or anywhere near it, there is a substantial amount of renewable energy to be added and therefore a lot of energy storage capacity. There's up to a terawatt of capacity needed through to 2050 globally, which is a significant amount. That represents around about $600 billion of investment required in order to underpin the energy storage, which underpins the renewable energy investments that have got to take place. So that means that our market is growing at nearly 30% compounding through to 2030, and then something like 15% annually in the decade beyond. So there's a very large and growing market. In Australia, we have a very similar profile from in the hundreds of megawatts of capacity in the last couple of years. We're talking about needing to grow at, again, over 20% compounding for the next decade. And we see the total storage demand requirements in Australia going from a small number of gigawatts to around about 70 gigawatts by 2040. So
Mhm.
a considerable amount of demand. As far as green gravity is concerned, our addressable market is a decent portion of that. We see a
Mhm.
reasonable growth rate of, again, over 20% compounding, with a market opportunity of over 15 gigawatts of capacity that's up for grabs for our technology. We think we've got a very strong competitive position in that market, firstly, because we have got a very low levelized cost due to the life and due to the low capital cost of the technology. But also, very importantly, we have many other environmental and ecological aspects that are very attractive in the market. So firstly, we don't need any water resources. Secondly, we don't consume new land resources. We're able to repurpose existing land for this technology as part of the circular economy flavour of our technology. And finally, we have very short supply chains. We don't need processed chemicals from long global supply chains. So we
Mhm.
play very carefully into energy security, which is an ever increasing concern for many countries. And so we're able to provide domestic sector contributions directly to energy storage capacity, which bolsters the ability for any country to be able to make its energy transition more effective.
Absolutely. It's actually very impressive to see the progress of green gravity that you have made. Now, let's talk about your current projects that you're working on. So, can you update us on the progress of your projects like the Gravity Lab and the Mine Shaft demonstration?
Absolutely. We're making several key investments this year to make sure that the technology is shovel ready by next year. The first of those is the Gravity Lab. This is a purpose-built facility to test the physics and
Mhm.
test the electrical systems and control systems of the technology, to give us proprietary data in order to bring the technology right up to grid connectivity readiness. The second key investment we're making is in the digital version of that system and a broader digital footprint. By spending more of our time and effort in the digital designs of this system in the NVIDIA's Omniverse, we're able to reduce the cost of technology development and increase the speed. The third key investment we're making is in mine shaft demonstration trials later in this year. We're currently negotiating a lease, it's almost completed, which will then unlock our pathway to be able to complete construction of a demonstration facility in a mine shaft in New South Wales later this year. So those investments, when combined, will bring our technology readiness level up to sufficient state that we're able to move immediately onto commercial scale studies, which we've already started at 3 separate sites.
That's brilliant. Now, let us talk about the capital raising aspect because that is very crucial for any startup. So, can you provide us with some details about Green Gravity's ongoing Series A capital raising round and what are the investment offering terms and what value proposition do you have for potential investors?
Yeah, absolutely. We're raising 12 Australian million dollars at the moment, Rhythm. And as part of that raise, we've opened $2 million of a raise through Wholesale Investor. The broader raise is being led by a major Australian corporate with a pre-money valuation of 35 Australian million dollars in pre-money as part of the full 12 million raise. So we think that valuation, which compares well with comparators in the market and is a fully arm's length negotiated outcome with a major corporate, we think it represents very good value for investors. It's a significant discount from the potential DCF outcomes of our models, but also represents, I think, an attractive valuation in the market and relative to competitors for similar technologies at similar stages of development. The offering is for an equity purchase directly into the lead entity within our group. And
Mhm.
we look forward to being able to bring strategic investors through at this, I think, very exciting time for us to be raising. We would expect to use the funds to complete demonstrations in mine shafts and
Mhm.
to commence further studies on mine sites to make sure we validate all of the relevant factors that are going to be required to deploy the technology commercially by the end of next year.
Amazing. Now, as a parting question, Mark, looking ahead, what are Green Gravity Energy's plans for commercialization and scaling? Are there any upcoming milestones or targets that investors should be aware of?
Yes, well, we're moving very fast towards commercialization, and our primary plan is to bring at least one commercial scale site to market by the end of next year. That means we need things going right now in that pipeline, which they are. So firstly, the technology development activities, which are commissioning of the Gravity Lab, commissioning of our digital systems, and completion of mineshaft demonstrations at the end of the year. Those are important milestones that unlock the technology ready for commercialization. But also and concurrently, we are studying a variety of mine sites to ensure that we understand the conditions at the grid and within the mine shafts to ensure that the technology is able to deploy very smoothly. So a key milestone will be moving through several of those studies this year and moving one of those studies into detailed feasibility early next year. And that will get us on the pathway to being able to commence revenue activities by the end of next year as we're bringing these sites through. So those, I think, are the key milestones.
Amazing. We are looking forward to keeping our tabs on the progress of your company. And thank you again, Mark, for sharing these valuable insights into green gravity energy and its groundbreaking gravitational energy storage solution. For anyone who's interested in learning more about the company, please see the details at the side of your screen or in the description of this video. Thank you again, Mark, for joining me for this interview, and I look forward to speaking to you again.
Thank you, Rhythm. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.